Good morning. Last time we were listening to Joshua as he was reiterating all of the all of the commandments, and also how he was telling of all the times that God has saved his people. But I want to back up just a few years before this. There's one story I feel that should be told in there. The Israelites had many enemies in the land of Canaan. Then they were wicked cities around them, and God wanted them taken out. And Joshua was just the fella to do it. To make a long story short, 5 kings got together, and they were afraid of the Israelites because they heard about Jericho and all of his other victories that Joshua had. And so these kings, 5 kings, got together with their great armies, and they wanted to take out the Israelites. Well, guess what? They couldn't do it, because as they came on strong against the Israelites, there were 5 kings that were using a cave sort of like their headquarters for their war plans and things. And Joshua was fighting all of these armies, him and his soldiers, and it was getting to be dark, and they're in a part of the country now where there's trees and woods and things, and Joshua and his men saw these men starting to run into the trees and stuff to get away from them. And the Bible says this is the first time that the Lord has listened to a man's commands. And Joshua was afraid they would get away on him, and he needed more daylight. And so it says that he commanded the sun and the moon to stop so he could have more daylight. He needed more sun. And sure enough, he got more hours of sunshine, and he was able to defeat these enemies before they ran away. They defeated all of these people and, all the soldiers. And the 5 kings that were in the cave, Joshua, somebody saw the kings go in there. Joshua went in there and he killed them, all 5 kings. And then they rolled a stone, not a stone, stones, boulders over the door of the cave, and it became their grave in there. So Joshua won that. But it does say in the scriptures, this is the first time that God listened to a man's commands, and he helped him win the wars. And there was one other time, we haven't gotten to it yet, in 2 Kings, where King Hezekiah wanted more time to fight off his enemies, but he was sick and he was dying. And so the prophet Isaiah came to him, and he asked the prophet to pray with him because he was a good, godly king, and he wanted to win a war. And Isaiah and Hezekiah said, please add some more years to my life. He wanted the Lord to add more years. And so the prophet Isaiah said, well, if you look out there, you'll see the sundial. It was a series of steps. You'll see a sundial out there. And would you like to, if you're going to trust the Lord, would you like to see the sun continue on down, or would you like to see it, the shadow, back up, go up the stairs and turn around? And Hezekiah said, I'm asking you to turn this thing around for me. I need more years. I can't afford to be sick. And so they looked, and sure enough, the sundial reversed itself. They saw it reverse itself. And the Lord gave Hezekiah 15 more years. So that's the second time before that, when it was Joshua, it says not before or since, but later on, God did it once more. And that shows how God has control of the skies, the sun, the moon, the rotation of the earth around the sun, the stars, everything. God has control of it. And that's why Joshua was also called a mighty captain. And that's why Jesus is called, Joshua is a Hebrew word for Jesus. I'm crying again. And that's why he's called the captain of our salvation, Joshua and Jesus. But I thought those were important stories. I just wanted to add in there. And I'm also going to post that article about NASA finding extra hours that were lost somewhere in time. And they traced it right down to Joshua and King Hezekiah. And a lot of scientists want to poo-poo this because many don't believe there is a God. But it's there. And they found it on the computer, and it's there in the scriptures. So I'm going to post that. Sorry this was so long, but I thought this was such an important story. And so Israelite was able to overcome all these wicked kings. And it's the first time that a man ever asked, he didn't ask, he commanded the sun and the moon, and God listened. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye-bye.